Hey everybody, welcome to this week's live stream. I'm your host Mod Sween, and I am delighted to be joined by Mod Flippy and Mod Kieren. We'll have Mod Husky joining us soon. I think he's busy fixing some bugs or something like that, so he might be with us in a bit. Later in the stream, we'll be introducing you to a mystery guest, our new senior community manager. You have to wait to find out who that is. And I would just like to say an early thank you to Mod Signing in the chat at Old School RS should you have any questions for us, and a thank you to Mod Spear for making things happen behind the scenes. Before we kick off, I'll run through the announcements as usual. Exclamation mark Leagues. Leagues is live. Maybe you've been under a rock or something, but Trailblazer's been up for about 5 days now. Exclamation mark Leagues to learn more, or just hop to a green world and start playing. There's a tutorial, get stuck in. Okay, what next? This week's game update will be on Thursday rather than the usual Wednesday. This gives us more time to get everything ready. Tomorrow afternoon, we have got some login server maintenance. There's a news post, there'll be social comms, we'll use in-game broadcast, that kind of stuff too. If you're logged in at the time of the maintenance beginning, you'll be fine. But anybody trying to log in or hop worlds during this period will run into some problems. Ooh, 4 more things.
By the way, Sweet, not just to interrupt you.
Go ahead, yeah.
I think you're using the wrong microphone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it sounds like you're using like your laptop mic or something.
Interesting. Chris is here. Let's get Husky on, and I will play with my mic.
There we go. Oh, is he still frozen? Or is he just... Okay, yeah, there we go.
My internet's super patchy right now. But hey, guys.
Right. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to play with settings for a second.
I can hear you.
So
Oh my god, this is the best stream ever. It's so scuffed. Yeah, I could hear you. I don't know if they can hear you.
4:30 and everything goes wrong. We should stick to
I love
5 PM on Wednesdays. Or Thursdays now. Anyway, yes, as Sweet was saying, if you've been living under a rock, Trailblazer is out as of last Wednesday. It's been amazing. I'm tired because I was up stupidly late playing Leagues because I'm addicted. I mean, Husky and Flippy have been working on it for months and they've been spending stupid hours playing it themselves. It's been absolutely mad. And I have to say, like, truly, we've done some massive launches. We've had some huge launches over history. We've done Chambers of Xeric, we've done Theatre of Blood, we've done Song of the Elves, we've done Darkmire. I think, truly, this is the most successful content addition to the game we've ever done. I mean, things like mobile, a bit separate, but truly, it's been astounding, and we've seen crazy support from the players. We've hit a record last night of, like, 173,000, I think it peaked at. Just hit 173,
Sure.
Which is insane. It truly has been insane. So yeah, that's Leagues. I'm sure you've all been playing it. You've all been watching the stream. So that's awesome. Announcement with this game update this week. It's not going to be on a Wednesday. It's going to be a one-off. We're going to move it back to a Thursday, just because we need some additional time to get everything ready. We had such a big launch last week. There's a lot of fixes we need to get integrated with the release build. So that's why we'll be pushing back to Thursday. There's also some login server maintenance scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. There's a news post and social channel comms going out, and we're going to also use the in-game broadcast system to make sure that you're aware of it before it actually just happens. If you're logged in at the time of the maintenance, you'll be unaffected, just as you are with an update. But you'll be unable to log in or hop worlds whilst the maintenance is in flight. So you might want to log into a legit non-maintenance world while it's happening. Sweet, how you doing? Shaky, okay. Right, I'll crack on then. Halloween! So, away from leagues, we might have forgotten that it was Halloween at the weekend. That update has been live for the last couple of weeks now, and it features a guy called Rick, and he's got a little bit of a problem with his head. It's gone walkies, to say the least. You can find him in the woods near Draenor Village, and I recommend heading over there soon, as it'll be gone in the next... it'll be gone on the update on the 11th of November next week. We've also got a live poll for a new quest. So if you type !Twisted in the chat, you'll be able to find out more about that. This blog will tell you more about a new quest, which will be the first in a new series of short standalone quests around the regions of Kourend and Kebos. We're calling them the Twisted Tales. They'll be little short stories, so things that really help to bring the world alive. Sort of like your cook's assistant sort of stuff, where you've got such a guy with a problem, and you got to go and help solve them in a local area, which is awesome. As I think it's something that Kourend and Kebos really need. !Prime, we've got our newest Prime gaming collaboration live right now with an exclusive Last Man Standing event. In this, 24 of the toughest players will be battling for glory. Try and win as many games as LMS before November 10th to have a chance of competing in those grand finals. Use !Prime again to get more information. And also, !GGA. There's a lot of announcements this week. We're sad to say that the Golden Gnomes finals have been delayed until November 20th. We'd planned to have some elements of the ceremony at our studio, but with the ongoing COVID situation and changes to lockdown restrictions in the UK, mean we're having to have it entirely virtual. So !GGA to learn more. Yeah, if you didn't know, the UK has announced it's going to be essentially going back into lockdown for the duration of November. And the last thing I'd like to do is really shout out the wiki. The wiki has been absolutely incredible through the league's launch. Sween and I talked quite a lot about that on the Asmongold stream last week. But Old School Wiki and the RuneScape wikis are simply, matter of fact, the best wikis in the world. The fact we've been able to work with them in an actual close relationship is incredible too. But the level of quality for the League's wiki stuff is just truly insane. I mean, I'm sure you all found it incredibly useful. I found it useful. You go to any quest that tells you whether you can do it or not with your areas. Stuff like that is just so handy. So yeah, keep doing the great work, and everybody really do show your love for the amazing things that they do. As always, if you have anything you would like to ask the team or any of us, @OldSchoolRS in the chat with your questions. So, Sween, how's your microphone? Managed to
Moment
saw
of
it?
truth. Can you hear me properly? No?
We can
Yes?
hear you. Yeah.
That
Clearly?
sounds...
I think it's
That sounds better. That's not your...
Yeah.
That's better, yeah.
Ah, okay. It was to
Saved.
do with remix things. Excellent. Saved. Right.
Oh no.
What?
Is that just me, or has it gone like really rubbish again?
everyone's as loud.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with your mic.
Is it fine? If so, we'll carry on
No,
with
that
the
doesn't sound fine.
scuff stream. Oh, what the hell? I don't get it. Okay,
Yeah, crack
anyway, usual questions. How is everybody? Let's start with Husky, then Kieren, then Flippy. We'll go around clockwise. How you doing, Mod Husky?
Just ecstatic. It's been an absolutely hectic, what's that, 5 days or so, 6 days since launch, whether it was staying up late of the release to work on all the issues that you guys were coming up with, playing the league myself. I don't know, ever since I got older, I've struggled to stay up past midnight, 1 o'clock, but I've been a true gamer till 2, 3 in the morning the last few nights, trying to get those gains and beat Arcane internal rankings because he's first. So, but apart from that, I'm just having a blast. It's been great to see the community's response to everything.
Well, Kieren, how's it going with you? Have you been a true gamer as well?
I've been You say true gaming, the chat's calling you out for 3 a.m. as if that's rookie numbers, Husky. So, you know, I'm good. I'm really good. It's been, I mean, I think we're all living on cloud 9, to be honest, since launch. It's been a wonderful experience. But yeah, I didn't actually play until yesterday because I've just been busy. So I started yesterday and I ended up staying up stupidly late myself, and I'm feeling it today.
Flippy, how are you? Have you been playing much League as well?
Yeah, maybe a little too much. Just as Kieren said before, I'm also very, very tired to the point where I'm like struggling to focus now. I think I slept 6 hours last night, and I should probably get a grip and sleep some more and accept the fact that you can't, you know, keep up the XP at all times. But I'm good. I'm so incredibly happy about launch. There's of course a bunch of stuff that, you know, we could fix or improve, or that is a little bit shaky at this point, but I am super happy with the result. I think I'm just seeing so many people say that they're having fun, and that's all I care about at this point. I'm really happy that people are having fun.
So the next question I've got is, what did everyone get up to the past week? I know you're either working on leagues or playing leagues, or working and playing on leagues. So we'll get straight into the actual leagues questions. Open one, how happy are you with the release? What are your expectations? Have they been bettered?
I think it's absolutely fair to say that it's just smashed all expectations. We were all discussing, like, maybe a couple of weeks before, how many worlds should we have? You know, I think we had like 10 maybe on Twisted League launch, and that felt right. And let's go up to 12 just in case. And I think you guys all saw the result where, like, within like 2 or 3 minutes, every world was full, and we were like, okay, we've got, you know, 5 backup worlds. Let's just launch the backup worlds, and the backup worlds were full. And then it was a race for Mod Rock and the team to start you know, converting existing worlds to Trailblazer League worlds. I think it's just absolutely amazing. So what my expectations? Much less than what we are now, and this is just, that's a great problem to have, right? If I can't predict how successful this is going to be.
I didn't expect to ever see 19 full worlds at the same time. Yeah, there we go. That's what happened, and when I saw some worlds fast, I mean, I can't even say it enough, like, the amount of people that contributed to this in Jagex, like, you know, having to have the whole sysadmin team working late to get some extra worlds up, like, they were so bought into it. They knew the difference it would make for Trailblazer and for all the players. So, you know, truly, it smashed everyone's expectations, because if we knew that was going to be where it would be at, we'd have that many worlds ready in the first place. We didn't expect it to be this big. And yeah, here we are with one of the most successful updates we've ever done.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I was like, if we can just make it, you know, somewhat as good as Twisted League, then I'll be happy. Players really had a lot of fun, like last year with Twisted League. So if we can make something similar, that'll be cool. If we can make anything better, that's awesome. And here we are. It's been crazy.
All around the studio, people are ecstatic as well, naturally. It exceeded player numbers, worlds were full, people are enjoying the content. You can't move on Twitch or YouTube for seeing another rank 1 video and so on. So our creators are happy, our players are happy, we're happy in the team, and the rest of the studio are happy. So good job, well done. Pat yourselves on the back, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we have been discussing that internally as well. It is so weird how 10 people can all be rank 1.
All right, I've got some league-specific questions. First one I've got is, what are some unexpected synergies you've seen with relics that you would never have thought of during playtesting?
There's 2 with me, and they're both with the last recall relic. Recall gang represent. The first one was an oversight on my part, because we were auto-completing Monkey Madness 2, and we knew Kandrin was going to be a fairly popular area. I think when I looked at the last recall, I was like, this is going to be powerful later on, because you're not going to have an infinite telly next to a bank, right? And then Seedpod comes along and says hello. So that was a synergy I just wasn't expecting, like with Kandrin. Just, you know, there's so many quests for autocomplete and so many things that was interesting to see the players find. And the second one was how Last Recall is interacting with weapon special, like being able to teleport into bosses, spec them down, go back and do it really quickly again. That's really cool to see. we kind of looked at weapon specialist in like environments like I'm camping at a boss, and I'm, maybe I'll get like a bunch of specs on the first one, then maybe another 2 on the next one or 3 on the next one, etc. And it's just like, I don't think any of these are like super secret strats. It's just when there's so many different possibilities and combinations, it's hard to sort of anticipate all of them, right?
I think we fixed it, right? But the players using the last recall to get to the top of the agility pyramid, that's genius.
Yeah, that was, I think, the only one as well that I just didn't at all think about. It was like 25 mil an hour or something.
So we had to fix it because it was just too good. So
we actually had a brainstorm like 2 days before launch where we were like, hey, last recall is actually doing a lot of things we weren't expect. Come on, team, think of anything you can think of where this could be really abusable and see if we need to address it. And that was just one, I think, that never came up.
Yeah,
yeah, because no one was planning the desert region.
we had thought about the normal agility methods. Like, we were like, oh, could you in theory, teleport back to the course and just finish that part over and over again? But that one just slipped, I think.
I mean, to be honest, maybe infinite cash is a fair reason to pick the desert. So. Can you use it to get like the last move of Pyramid Plunder and stuff?
No, it doesn't work in Pyramid Plunder. That was one of the ones we caught 2 days beforehand when we were like, oh, that's not an instance. Oh, okay. We should probably disallow you going to the top floor repeatedly.
To be honest, I think the last room of Pyramid Plunder would probably be fine, but
it's hard to make that call, but we thought we'd be safe.
So this does kind of lead on to the next question I had, which is, now that Leagues is live, do you think any specific region is underpowered?
I mean, the first thing that's going to come to anyone's mind is desert, right? And the truth is that during design, right, we were sitting there and we're like, if you discount all the master tasks, desert's actually okay, right? I think it comes out slightly above average if you discount the master tasks. But there's nothing in the desert that's worth a master task. We were sitting there thinking, and we're like, should we make them go and like get full recolored sets of Infinity with the ornament kits, or a really high KQ? It just felt really artificial. Like there's not even a time to track for KQ and say, what's your fastest KQ time or something. We really racked our brains. And if we could have had like 3 or 4 master tasks, I think Desert would have sat fine. But feedback from players so far has been it's quite high points per hour, which we kind of intentionally did, because I think we erred on the side of, if we're between 2 task tiers, let's give it the higher one in the Desert, just to help it a little bit. So I think it's interesting. I think very few people are going to be picking it, but it's pretty strong if you pick Mage, Relic, and Ancients. So it's got that.
Do we have stats at all of who's picked which region?
I don't know.
I haven't seen any yet.
I think maybe we do. I don't think we have anything to show today.
Not yet, no. Okay.
But
as soon as we have stats, I'm sure we'll talk about them and let people know, because it's absolutely fascinating to see what people are picking. I think we got some relic info, didn't we, with stats? We said some around. They're not prepared to be showing off with fancy graphics or anything, but we can certainly talk about that in a bit.
Yeah. It's also worth mentioning that we knew that even in the very, very first days of this design, we knew that Desert would be kind of underwhelming, We also knew that Kandarin would be a strong pick, for example. It's not that, we tried, we just failed at balancing this because we knew it would end up like this because of the nature of the game mode. So it's like we chose to thematically split the world into regions, and some of these regions have a lot more content to play around with. And some regions naturally synergize super well together, maybe because of when the content was built into those regions, like on a time scale, or maybe because just lore-wise the regions fit well together. And that's fine. I mean, we knew that there would be probably a melee-heavy meta going into Trailblazer. We knew that Kandarin and Ascarnia would probably be popular picks, and we have seen that it's a really popular pick along with Mori, which is fine. I think we've just tried to focus on, making sure that the relics are fun, and that also the relics bring a little bit more option into the picture by, for example, increasing accuracy both for magic and ranged to compensate a little bit for that.
Honestly, it's great though. I mean, yes, Desert might be underpowered compared to like Kandarin, but does it matter? People want to do their own content. And the great thing about this is that it lets you build whatever you want to do. If you do really want to go dart heavy and smith darts from a blowpipe, or maybe you want to do wilderness and you want to get barrages on your side just to have some fun, then you can do it. And that's what I like about it. Your sole goal is efficiency. You might work out what the best regions are. So honestly, some people might just want to do clues for fun rather than focus on combat. So.
You can definitely pick literally any combination of regions and still end up with all the rewards after the 2 months. So,
well, given that we've tried to aim for balance, tried to aim for fun, can we expect to see any tweaks to any relics at all?
Probably
my
not.
vote on this is kind of... Yeah, this is where I say I'm looking with Twisted League. It's really hard because people can't repick their relics, right? I think I kind of draw the line at like, if the relic says it should do something and it's not, or you would think that it should do something, we should probably fix it. I think the one that I'm kind of on the fence about is Molten Glass. Should it affect Molten Glass? Should it not? It didn't specifically say on the interface. I think it said making glass, which wasn't supposed to be interpreted as blowing glass, but that one is kind of like okay on the fence. If I did fix it for glass, then that wouldn't be a surprise. But if I suddenly made it work for like Production Master work for a bunch of things that weren't on there, that makes it feel really bad because people would have went, oh, if I'd known it was going to affect these 5 more things, I would have picked it, right?
Yeah.
And that's just really not nice to people to do that. I think we've had a lot of feedback on things as well, like Clue Relic's quite, and the sad truth is that Clue Relic was supposed to be slightly underpowered in that tier. We saw a very Clue heavy meta in Twisted League that people enjoyed it first and got old really quickly. We knew straight ahead of time that we didn't have the time to like separate it so you had only clues in your region. We just didn't have the time to do that dev work. So with that in mind, we said Relic like decent, but the real choice was supposed to be between second inventory and unnatural selection. And with all the bugs to second inventory that were found just before release, it was, well, when you kind of have its main competitor gone, it makes it hard to balance, right? But I think we shouldn't change these. I think that making people wish they like regret the choice because we changed the information as opposed to maybe they misinterpreted the information, right? That's a big difference.
Are we making any changes to clues at all this week?
Yeah.
Nothing else. No.
Wait, when's the cold fix with the clues going out?
Oh yeah, the steps on Zaya.
Exactly, there's steps on Zaya. There's also music steps, and I think the skilling clues will be disabled as well, along with those. So previously, you'd get a lot of like music steps, which either came from a different region, or they came from some quest even within your region, but that you couldn't complete because it was auto-completed. So we're making that a bit easier for everyone in that sense.
Everyone, not just the people who picked the Clue Relic.
Yeah. Is Sween muted?
You, Sween.
I think Sween's muted.
This is the best stream ever.
Okay. Well, next question then. I want to know what you all have picked. Regions and relics. What have you gone for? Husky, start with you.
So far, I've picked Tyranwin, then I've picked Mori. I think I should have picked Mori. I still plan to have 3 areas when I finish. I'm not picking Kandarin or Asgarnia, mostly because I went quick shot sort of range route. So my relics are Endless Harvest, Last Recall, Quick Shot. I have Botanist for now, since my area selection only has 1 herb patch. Maybe 2. I can't remember if I can get to Harmony Island with that or not. And I'm so torn. Like, every day I change my mind between, am I going to get Draining Strikes, or am I going to pick Exploding Attacks? Because Weapon Specialist just isn't really range friendly. I don't know what I'm going to pick when I get there. But that's what I've got so far.
Flippy, what about you?
Hello?
Hey, I can hear you, Stream.
Yay.
I think for now I have Kandarin, Asgarnia, and I am about to pick Fremenic. I'm definitely a normie in that sense. I'm also going the normie relic path with Skilling Prodigy, Last Recall, Fluid Strikes, what's it called? Unnatural Selection. And I'll probably end up picking Draining Strikes, I think. Oh, Equilibrium as well. Forgot.
Nice. I've only just started mid less progress so far. I've unlocked Kandarin as my first choice, which is the only right choice. Let's be honest. And I've got Production Master, so I've gone a different route there. I've got Last Recall, obviously, Recall Gang. And my plan beyond that, I'm going to go melee. I'm going to get Mauritania next because I want to get whips and stuff like that. And then just go ahead and get my fire kit with the whip, probably.
Wait, you don't have a whip yet?
All right, mate, calm down. I've only just got a Kandarin. I've just done Plague City, so, you know.
I'll tell you, though, I think that it's interesting to see this sort of Asgarnia, Mauritania, and melee meta. I think we predicted it, but I think people are not considering the strength of the other two combat style relics a lot. I said like a week before release, what if you didn't need melee to do Tob? And yes, like, melee is better DPS than picking the range with the range relic, but ranged relic with crystal bow and crystal armor is still way above 10 DPS at Verzik. I think like compared to the Scythe, which are 16, like it's still notable, but we were getting sub 20-minute clears with 2 majors and 1 ranger, right, in trio TOB. Like, that's still insane. The relics are still really powerful. And I think I was speaking to Arcane a lot about this. I think a lot of people are picking Kandarin because standard Iron Man path is do the quest unlocks to get the XP to like early on and stuff. And it has a lot of good quests for a lot of early XP, which actually combos really well with Skilling Prodigy, right? So I think this is like the meta that people picked out quickly, but I think Kandarin isn't actually the strongest area. I think it's just the most friendly to what people are used to. And I think the whole Kandarin,
my skills, mate. I want to do my quests because that skips
this
me
is
past
it,
the old
right?
stuff.
Yeah, for skillers, it is a good reason, or a good region, sorry. But I also think, I see what you mean. It's definitely like a comfortable pick in many ways. It's a lot of familiar stuff, and it's a clear and linear path for anyone going melee or skilling.
What about you, Sweet?
Dude, I've unlocked Skilling Prodigy and nothing else. Since launch, I've been working late on leagues and other stuff. On a weekend, I went to go and visit our old friend, Ayiza. And I had to spend Sunday with my partner, so I've had no time to play games at all. I'm way behind.
Feels bad, man.
It does.
I just told my partner I was monitoring the live game following a big update. She understands and she sees through me, but yeah.
I just told my partner and my friends that, like during launch and probably like 1 or 2 weeks after, I might just be MIA. So if you guys are inviting me to play or whatever, then just, if I don't reply, just go.
All right, okay. Next question I've got. Have you considered doing game modes like leagues more around the summertime so people who might be in school or something like that have more time to play?
Yes, it's obviously a nice thought, right? Everyone's off work. But in reality, we just needed more time. Like this year, there's no way we could have got it created for summer. And we didn't want to exactly create it for winter, then sit and wait to release it till next year. So it was just a matter of where we were. And, this also made sense for us. It makes sense coming over Christmas, but a lot of people have time off over Christmas week, a Christmas couple of weeks. Yes, it's now in November, but people will still be playing through Christmas. So, we'll see in the future. It might make sense to start moving it around, but it mostly depends on when we can actually dev it for, because it's not cheap to develop. It took us a good while to create Trailblazer. I mean, we've been working on it from, we did our first ideation sessions December, January, where we were trying to determine what type of league are we even going to do, and then it went into production mostly after Darkmire, right? It was when we all started development hardcore on it. So it's been a lot of work to get to the point where we are, and I hope it comes across the level of like polish and things that's been applied to the interfaces and stuff in this league compared to what we've done in the past. Those fancy maps and things I think are really sweet.
Out to Mod West for that.
Yeah, it's incredible. Some of the stuff that you can see in game this league, it feels so alive. Seeing stuff like, you know, people just appearing with the last recall relic. You see someone unlocking a new region or relic. All of those additions are just beautiful. I think it really, really helps kind of forming the game mode.
Sweet, I don't know how this keeps happening, but you've gone again. Well, this is the most scuffed stream I think we've ever done. We've been at home for months. Question 7, though.
Moving on to the next
I don't know why I'm reading out the question number, but this is I'm not the host normally. Question 7. It's not like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. What do you think of the many suggestions to improve the tasks interface? New filters for tasks per region, making some to-do lists appear on the top level, like in other MMOs. Adding progress steps, so like how far if it's 30 laps, how many laps have you done on the way? All of that sort of stuff. Thoughts?
I think we already have a list. I think I created a list
stuff
for like last league, and I've just been like checkboxing stuff we did this time, and then adding more stuff that we've gotten feedback on, and there's a lot we can do. Sorry, I cut you off, Husky.
No, it's okay. It's kind of the unfortunate thing, right? When we're looking at the work we need to do for this, we sort of split them into MVP and non-MVP jobs, right? And all the MVP stuff is the things we need to happen. Like, obviously the areas need to work, and there need to be tasks, there need to be relics, and all this sort of stuff, right? This stuff always falls into sort of non-MVP. Like, we always get time to do stuff like this, but we never get like, we can't really delay the launch of the update by like 2, 3, 4 weeks to get all of this stuff in all the time, right? It kind of depends how far ahead we get with what we do, but I've seen tons of stuff. Like, I want to see a randomized task. I want to see say stuff on the actual user interface that you bring up, or like when you go to the side panel, that the one that goes like info areas tasks, you can just have like a task that you've selected and maybe just appear there. A search bar would be great. A way to hide tasks would be great, especially in this one, because there's lots of tasks you just can't do it. It's annoying to scroll past them all. Like, all of this is stuff we've seen. It's just that a lot of this isn't necessarily trivial to do, right? Sometimes there's a lot of logic. Sorting tasks was another one as well. Like, instead, I think default it's just like in a preset order we have. It might be nice to sort them by like the name of the task, or like sort them by category, so all the skilling ones are together and stuff. So.
And I think you're spot on. There's so many things you can do. I mean, we've talked about sorting, and we've talked about extra categorization with Twisted League. And I imagine each league we do will add a whole bunch of improvements to the general infrastructure. Like, we got rid of Tutorial Island this time. When you did Twisted League, you had to do Tutorial Island. This time we had a much better log-on flow for when you join leagues. It takes you through the core interfaces into getting your first relic and things. Like, there's a whole bunch of little things that we've done just to smooth it out. The interfaces look better, and I guarantee, I'm sure at least some of these features will make their way into League 3, whatever it ends up being in the future.
Definitely.
It's so good.
Yeah, there's been already like a lot of small improvements. I'm not sure if many people remember it, but logging on to Twisted League, it was basically you would go through Tutorial Island, and then the tutor would kind of like yeet you and force you to come talk to him, and then you would have to go through a bunch of dialogue boxes, and that was basically it for the tutorial. You picked your relic, and then that was done. So I'm happy with what we managed to do this time, and I'm hoping we can do the same amount of improvements for next time.
And I think there's a lot of unsung heroes to this as well. Like, there's so many people that went into making this league, and I know that Flippy and I have been at the forefront in the communities. But Mod Tide originally made the bank tutorial, and while you guys meme about how annoying it was to click on that button, that way of the boxes sort of appearing and highlighting sections of the interface is really clean. And Mod Ed stole what he developed on that to use the league's tutorial, and that tutorial is just so much nicer and cleaner, showing you exactly what you need to click on.
Pop-up, the super clean pop-up that pops up like this with your task completions. That was also Mod Tide.
Yeah,
mate, the serotonin from that box, like I swear to God, it's all the serotonin in the world.
It's so good. So yeah, like there's so much stuff like this, and I think the thing that sort of goes as well is there's so much infrastructure behind leagues that is so neatly tied. Like this is a lot of work you guys don't see, and it's boring and stuff generally. But we can change one variable, and I think 90% of the way there, you would just get to experience Twisted League again. I think there's a few things that haven't quite been tied into it, but that's really exciting. Like all the interfaces just change, all the name changes. You see all the old relics and the descriptions. It's pretty exciting.
So I'm interested. I mean, I go off topic a bit here, but you know, we've done Twisted League, and obviously we're running this league right now, and obviously we will do League 3 again in the future. I mean, I think it would be silly not to, given how much love that League 2 is getting. But how do people actually feel about revisiting all the leagues in the future? Because we've set it up as best as possible so that we could essentially, at the flick of a switch, turn on Twisted League, or turn on this league again in the future, and we should set it up like that again with League 3. So imagine a format where, say, yearly we run a new league, and then also once a year we run a rerun of an old league, and we don't do too much to it, but it gives the people a chance for who missed out on Twisted, people who are missing out on Trailblazer right now, that sort of thing, and as a way to just, give you more of this content, because I've seen a lot of people ask for it permanently. I don't actually think we should do it permanently, because I think part of
what is this?
The rush experience, but no, this is mad.
I asked
really
this exact same question.
Up for it. Yeah.
Like I asked this exact same question like 2 streams ago, where I was like, "What if we do like a main league once a year, and then like the other portion of the year we do like a rerun of a previous one?" And the chat was like, "No, don't do it! Like, no, that would ruin all the fun." Then you ask the exact same question, and the chat is like, "Yes, please."
That's the Kieren effect.
Possibly there were different people watching it the other week, or maybe just I don't know, but. No, and I think it's really important, right? It shouldn't be permanent, because people said it in the chat, burnout. Absolutely. The anticipation as well really does matter. Like, when people come in at the same time, there's all this rush, people are competing for the high scores simultaneously. That's what's so good about it. It's a journey that everyone participates in together. So even if you do reruns, you still have that. Maybe we don't run it for 2 months if it's a rerun. Maybe we double the acceleration and make it a month. Like, there's a couple of other things we could do if it's a rerun.
I think what's super interesting about Trailblazer as well compared to Twisted, and I think it was I was watching Sicknerd stream and he said this, and I totally agree. It has so much more replayability compared to Twisted League, right? And I think one of the interesting things I'd love to ask chat, right, is, and I was really nervous about this going into launch. Back after Twisted League ended, I said to Mod Flippy, I was like, hey, what if instead of choosing your XP at 3rd Relic, you chose like a dominant style, like severely buff melee, severely buff range, severely buff magic, and it's almost like picking a class. Almost, right? We've never had that in old school RuneScape before, and I was like, is this something we should do? Because old school RuneScape kind of has that charm of you can do anything you want. And I'm kind of wondering, chat, like, do you guys like that? Because this gives so much replayability. If you could play this again and go, I did the canned Arianis Garnia Mori route with melee, and next time I want to try the Taranwin Fremi route with range, and next time I want to try the Wildy Desert way with magic, right? There's like so many different flavors and ways to play this league, but like, I think I actually could see streamers getting to the point where they complete most of their tasks and then just going like, actually, let's retry again. Let's roll another character, because this league has actually got so much potential to it.
I would second that, and I would say like it speaks to the very essence of what leagues is for me. There's a game that, a lot of the people in this chat, if you type the year where you first started playing old school or RuneScape at all, it's probably a lot of people are going to be 2005, 06, 2007. A lot of people have been playing the game for a long time. Leagues lets you re-experience it in a new way. It's the same content you all know and love, the same skills that you all play all the time, the same bosses. But this puts a completely different spin on it. All of a sudden, you're looking at it differently. You're enjoying it in a different way. So the intention of Leagues is to twist the game, spin it on its head. Or, a class system that's not really a class system, but done through relics. Does give you that. Restricted to different regions means you got to do things in different orders. Like, I love it. I love it, and I really hope this can be a strong fixture of what we offer with old school in the coming years.
I'm going to try and speak again. Can you hear me this time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Yay! Okay, let's race through a few more of these questions before we introduce the community to the new JMod. And this next question kind of touches on what you just discussed in terms of re-rolling characters and whatnot. Okay, considering this game mode is all about the fun, why are choices on relics so heavily punished? Couldn't there be a way to change a relic tier somewhere down the line? Perhaps this could be locked behind a certain achievement, e.g. unlock all relics and have a choice to swap a relic. Or you could lock it behind a point threshold.
I get it. But the fact that you can't is what makes the choice important. That's what brings about all the people spamming recall gang and, you know, all the memes about people picking fairies, flight, and all of this stuff. Like, that's part of it for me. Like, the whole community aspect tie-in, the whole... If you could just undo it, there's no significance to your choice. And it makes... When you hit that point, it's like, dang, what am I going to pick? And you really have to think about it. If you just YOLO a decision, you expect to probably end up in that situation. So, I mean, I think if you were to do it, it would have to come with some downside, some aspect that you're dropping something else to pick a swapped relic and pick an old one somehow. I'm not sure the best way to do it, but certainly welcome your thoughts, Husky and Philippi.
I spoke about this with Mod Ed because we got some interesting engine commands with the League's release, right, that allow us to reset saves. And I think I said to him, hypothetically, could we have a hardcore Iron Man mode where you could just say, I want to restart, right? And I know the idea of like having the player, you know, buy another bond, another account is maybe good for business reasons and stuff, right? But that is something we could theoretically consider for a league. Like, it might be really hard. We'd need high scores work to like wipe your entry on the high scores or make sure points didn't go through to your main save. But that is theoretically something we could consider, right? Is like a reset button properly to like say anything you did back to the start. I think we'd need to tweak it in certain ways because it would also save pets, which might be weird. Like, if you got a pet on your first playthrough of the league, should you keep it for the second playthrough? Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't, because you're doing a reset. But I think there's a lot of interesting potential there that is like yet to be explored. And I think that if I could like shout out anyone for this league, it would be Mod Ed for that, because that was a really scary piece of code to have to work with. And it came off pretty flawlessly. I think there were two things that weren't saved, which was the high alchemy stuff. I think everyone noticed our high alch was set to 0 instead of whatever it was normally. And I think there was something else, and I can't remember what it was. And they were so small, it's ridiculous. So yeah, that was a lot of scary work that was done really well.
What I would add to this is that, look, there's no getting away from it. Accounts get hacked. And, you know, whether there's problems with our security or not even in the future, people are still going to get hacked because people will give their passwords away by error, whatever. If you do lose your account and somebody can reset it, that's more dangerous than what a hacker can do right now. So that would be my primary concern with doing something like that. But I would love to try and include it somehow.
I think you can just
agree with that.
The reason we have the 7-day countdown when you try and request like an Iron Man downgrade, or however you want to refer to it as, just in case you change your mind. So if you incorporate some kind of similar countdown, as with Bank Pin or as with the Iron Man downgrade, then I think you'd kind of cover the security issue and also player having regrets.
And it's not just about security issues as well, right? People get social engineered all the time, right? And you would absolutely get people say, hey, can you restore my account back to where it was because someone hacked my account because I accidentally leaked my details? It's a whole bag of worms. I just thought it was an interesting topic, you know?
Right, I've got some God Wars related questions for you guys. Would it be possible to lower the respawn time for God Wars bosses in leagues? They're already starting to get quite busy.
We have do you know if we have a fix, and I don't know if, do you know if comms have been sent out about that yet, Sween? I don't know if someone else worked on it or...
I was ready for the stream,
not.
so hopefully Sani, but maybe.
Well, either soon or it could already be hotfix, because that's what I was working with Mod Ed and Mod Bruno on before this. We're making it so that Last Recall won't take you back to the inside the God Room anymore. It'll take you outside the God Room. The biggest thing we saw was that people were quite actively hopping worlds, going in, back to another world, going in, and it gets really easy and annoying and sort of like to crash people in this sort of situation. We made the instances for a reason to sort of help this bottleneck, and that's one of those weird interactions with last recall weapon specialists we saw. So yes, some people might have got a small advantage from doing that now, but we just thought we should hotfix that after seeing how it played out the weekend. You'll still just have to get your 40 KC, which will suck for more rooms than others, but that's not a reason to make someone regret picking Last Recall. Last Recall is still a really fun and powerful relic despite this. And I think we're doing it for the Cerberus rooms as well, just because it allows you to skip a core mechanic of that fight. But yeah, so hopefully that means that we won't need to speed up the instance, the timers for God Wars bosses, because we actually can't do that on the main game world easily. Because it's all sort of like engine side, like respawn timers. We couldn't really do that on a League world and not a main game world. But we could have control of that in instances. But yeah, I know a lot of people are going to be mad about this, but it was a decision that we
how about
to make and figured it was just better because.
How about a compromise
what was the balance?
Of it keeps the kill count but puts you outside, and that way you can get back into the instance and don't have to get the kill count. Now I say that not because it's not how we should have, maybe not how it should have been in the first place, but given that it's already been available in the way it has. This way you get away from the problem of people all staying in the same world, and because people will go to a different instance, but you can still use your last recall and not have to go through the KC experience.
I think
it's a good compromise.
Would be nice.
I think that's a good compromise.
I think that is a good call, and I think the chat are loving you for that as well, because when you get in the mind of making these hot fixes, you kind of need to make a decision quickly, whether you're going to do it or not. We already have a job in for next week's update, I believe, which was actually to look at the fact that KC wasn't wiped, and it probably should be wiped on instances. Maybe we can use that job to instead look at how that behaves with last recall, right? And come to a conclusion at that. But if we did do a fix like that, it wouldn't be until Thursday, because we need some time to sit down and figure out how it will work and do it properly through a cold fix.
Cool. Well, I think we've covered the question I was going to ask next. So, Mod Spear, if you're looking at getting questions on the chat, I'm going to go straight to question 11 from the doc. Okay, question is, hello, I'm loving the league so far. One thing I'm curious about is why relics work the way they do at Zalcano. Currently, Endless Harvest works, allowing those with the perk to get resources much faster, which sounds great, but Production Master doesn't work there. Now, clearly that's what I have, but it's strange to me that one of the relics works, but the other one doesn't. Is this intentional? Thank you for the amazing league.
It was intentional. It's not through any balancing reasons. Production Master is such an interesting relic, right, that it needs to be literally plugged into every single system individually, right, that we wanted to affect. And we knew that Production Master would have an endless list of things like, can it work with this? Can it work with that? Can it work with that? And I think minus Pottery, which I don't even know why I did, everything on there is kind of the things we thought the players wanted the most out of. And we kind of stuck with, if it's not on the list, it shouldn't affect it. And technically, the stuff you get is called Tephra, it's not an ore. So by definition of the relic, it shouldn't affect it. Maybe that, like, because we have to draw them, and that's why I was so explicit with that definition in a lot of places. Whereas Endless Harvest says something like resources gathered from mining, which it is a resource gathered while mining. So there's a weird technicality in the way they're written where, like, I know it's kind of like going off technicalities. I know we can make it work however we want. But it was just kind of like I think that was brought up like to me like 2 or 3 weeks before release, and I was like, should it instantly smelt them? Maybe. But then never got time to really do it anyway because we were so busy with other stuff close to leagues, and it felt like such a weird niche case anyway because it's only one area and one relic selection. That's the sort of the long and short of it. It's really hard to get every single place for Production Master because they're all individual pieces of code, right? That require a lot of testing to get right.
Well, works for me. Right, next question. Will the league store be open for business before the league finishes? I want to buy a few items, and I'm not sure how many combined points I have. It'd be great to check out the store in case I need to get more points.
It should be, I think.
Do you have an update for that?
I don't have an update on it, but we should at launch so that we can make sure that the point system is working properly and everything before we let people go and buy things. Some things we still need to address with the system before we get it back online. So I'm not sure we've got a time frame yet, but I hope to definitely get it. I think we should be able to get it back open before we actually finish the league. So I just don't know when.
That's my hope too. I just don't want to make a promise if I can't keep it.
No, we think so, but we don't promise anything.
I think the main point is players are curious about prices. So even if we don't reopen the store, I'd hope we could at least provide them with insight like prices and whatnot.
Well,
I can
we should
get
be able
that
to do that. I
information.
assume right now you can't access the store at all. It won't let you open the interface. I mean, could we let you open the interface but not buy anything?
I think the store just doesn't open. I think. So we could double check that. I could put out the prices. I think like the biggest difference was that like I think people have already noticed with this league, you're getting a lot more points this league than the Twisted League, and that makes sense because we went crazy with tasks and we had no idea what this would do to the balance of like points per hour and stuff. And we kind of just said, let's go with a better task system and maybe look at it as Twisted League was the pilot. I think in Twisted League you needed something like 21.5, maybe 23k points to get everything. And I think this league it sits at around 36k ish, and that includes like a copy of T1, a copy of T2, and a copy of T3 Relic Hunter. So it's definitely higher. I can provide the information we've got sort of on what those prices should be, but obviously like they're kind of roughly subject to change still until they're actually released. Like if we see that people get way more points than we anticipate.
Right, we're running near the end to this segment of the stream, which is talking about leagues. I'd like to ask a few questions about clue scrolls, and then what I think for the rest of the questions, especially since some of them are mainly talking about what players perceive as issues. Maybe we can just engage with that off stream and then reply to the players submitting questions afterwards. Does that work with you guys?
Yep.
That sounds good. Can I spend 2 minutes going through stats for the first relic choices? I mean, they're not entirely up to date. Yeah, they're not entirely up to date. They're from like the other day. They're from Friday, I think. From Thursday even. So this is very early, but some insight into what people chose. Endless Harvest was just under 41%. Production Master 31%. Skilling Prodigy 28%. Tier 2, it will surprise no one to hear that Fairy's Flight is 5%. Eternal Jeweler is 28%. Last Recall up to 67%. All the Last Recall gang. And Tier 3, which is, by the way, this was Thursday, so only Tier 3 by this point. Nobody had Tier 4. Quick Shot, 26%. Fluid Strikes, 70%. Oof. Double Cast, 4%. So, there you go. Fairy's Flight is not the least popular relic. Double Cast is, at that point anyway.
People are sleeping hard on Double Cast. It's stronger than Quick Shot in a lot of situations as well. And it only requires one area to get online, which is Kandrin, really, for the Trident, the Occult, the Torment. And then you get the choice of like Mori for Sang or Tyranwin for the Toxic one. And if you can get the Botanist Relic with an Imbued Heart, it's a permanent +4 max hit. It's really strong. It's just people are... It doesn't excite people the same, I think. I think there's a weird perception of strength issue there, you know?
Yeah, but Fluid Strikes is like 100% a comfort pick in this case. A lot of people are not used to using magic for normal DPS, and especially not for stuff that you would normally melee, for example, that you could in theory use mage for.
Right, let's blast these quiz scroll questions, guys. We need to wrap up this section. So.
Yeah, last few questions from the stream. All clue scroll related. First of all, what was the reason for not looking clues to the regions unlocked? Or better yet, why was that not a perk of the clue relic?
Time.
It was a colossal amount of work that would take a lot of time, and we wanted to put the polish somewhere else in the league.
Cool.
So you can hashtag lazy mod for that if you
Yeah. I think, considering the scale of the league, completely understandable. I mean, they are completable. It is, but I do understand why players are perhaps annoyed having to juggle so many clues or trail again, blah, 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 blah. Is that a change you think we could make whilst the league is active?
No, I wouldn't want to do any sort of meta-changing choices during the league.
It would completely undermine people's reasons to pick the clue relic, right, over unnatural selection, and I don't think that's something we should do to them.
Would you consider allowing players the opportunity to choose another relic instead of the clue relic?
I don't think we need to. Clue relic is still... So if the league went on for like a full 2 months, I think clue relic actually gets you more points than a natural selection does. A natural selection makes getting to 99 Slayer and potentially 25 mil easier. it gets you like the weird tertiary drops like the Mist Battle Staff and stuff, and a few of the defeat Superior Slayer creature things. But you'd probably complete those over the course of 2 months of active play anyway without the Clue Relic. And the way the Clue Relic works is it makes it so your clues are disposable. Essentially, you're going to get so many you can't do, but you get ridiculous amounts of them that you'll actually be able to have a good shot at that 3 to 4k extra points that are in Clue steps that are just not present in the Superior Slayer steps. So I think Clue Relic is actually more points over the course of the entire 2 months. It's just people are seeing a lot of immediate benefit in picking Unnatural Selection now because, well, what are they doing now? They're training Slayer. They want to continually pick good tasks, and there's a lot of not good tasks there, right? So I think it's a very much a Clue Relic pays off way later.
Cool, that works for me. Those are the Clue Scroll questions we've got. A lot of them are very similar. There are tons more reworded slightly differently. In certain ways, can you change this about a relic? Can you do this about a relic? Can you change this about Clue Scrolls? But the answer you just given, I think, it explains why we won't be making any changes, or why we aren't making any changes, or didn't make changes beforehand. Okay, I think that works for me for the league section. Mod Husky, Mod Flippy, thank you very much for joining us. I think Mod Kieren, you're going to be staying with us while we introduce the new J mod.
Yeah.
Cool, Mod Spear, I guess when you're ready. Husky, Flippy, thank you so much for joining us.
Goodbye, chat. Goodbye, Sween Kieren.
See you.
Thank you, everyone, for playing and enjoying League.
Okay, and here we are. We have the new old school senior community manager, Mod Ayiza. How are you? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I mean, I'm in awe of the beard. I've been trying all lockdown to try and grow a beard, but you just completely put me to shame. I might as well shave it off.
Yeah, well, been a big fan of the old school team and stream for a while, so I thought, who would I want to most be closest to? And I chose you, Sween. I just wanted to show you what a real man looks like.
I like the inspo. You kind of taken my beard inspiration and you've taken Kieran's shades. It's like you're the best of both of us.
What can I say? We may as well make the old school team even greater than it already is, right?
Did you
Exactly.
dye your beard?
Well,
It's really silky smooth as well. Like
it's also very irritating and warm. I'm trying so hard not to just crease. It's gone.
All right. Well, I think we've had our moment. Do you want to de-beard and be a bit more comfortable?
Yes, please.
I think we had the moment.
There we go. Now I can actually drink some water as well.
guess who's
Right,
back?
we are. Guess who's back? We are delighted to welcome back Mod Ayiza to the old school team and to Jagex.
Yay!
Mod Ayiza, you're taking on the role of senior community manager. I guess let's just talk about what have you been up to since you left Jagex all that time ago.
Yeah, it was like actually nearly 2 years ago. Like 1 month from now, it would be 2 years. So it's been a crazy time. What have I done since then? Well, I used all of the fame and glory from Jagex to do what every ex-Jagex mod does, and went and streamed live on Twitch. I did that for a year, and then I basically stopped streaming after I almost killed myself playing World of Warcraft. That was quite bad, actually. I realised that 27, 28 can't really do 20 hours a day for 14 days in a row, and it kind of got the better of me. After that, I moved then back into what I've known like way before I joined Jagex, which was basically IT. I was working back in IT management until I got a job in esports, and that's pretty much where I've been for the last 5 months now, up until obviously today. And there I was working on a lot of like community-driven programs and initiatives to help basically rebuild an org that went through some times of recent. In essence, so that's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty much the same. We're trying to find a new house and such like that in terms of personal life, but now with a new lockdown, unfortunately not as easy to do. But one big change, huge, gigantuum. That's a new word now, by the way. Big change is we're gonna get our first dog next week. This weekend actually. I'm so excited. On Saturday we get to pick up a new puppy. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's pretty much it. For what? Sorry, a breed. It's a cockapoo. So yeah, a cross between a cocker spaniel and a poodle.
They're not a Labrador.
No. Dude, I was so like nervous. I was just sat there sweating so bad with that beard on, just waiting for the moment. So I just need to catch my breath a little bit. But yeah. And otherwise I've just been playing RuneScape really, dipping in and out of playing every now and then. That's pretty much it. So live a really exciting life.
Well, we don't really have any questions for you specifically. We're just going to use this as a nice opportunity to have a chat.
Yeah.
So from the outside, obviously you left Jagex. From the outside, I guess what do you make of the progress or the direction that Old School's gone? How did the leagues launch, for example? So obviously last week you knew you were joining Jagex. How did the leagues launch look from the outside perspective?
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Let me just get this beard off. Oh, I guess the other thing I should note as well is my hair is obviously a little bit different. It's a bit long. I haven't got it cut since like last year. So, in general though, so I obviously got to experience it as a player, knowing that I would have joined. I was like, okay, I got like 3 days left where I finished my old place to come into the new one. I think for the most part, things have been generally really good. Aside from leagues, just looking at general kind of like communications and such, I really have appreciated the level of transparency that comes through from like more senior staff within Jagex. Obviously, it's great to see the Q&As and such as they happen, but having those monthly live streams now, where you have like the leadership team involved, and you talk about the plans going forward, the Gazette. I think those things in general have been amazing to see, and the level of detail and clarity that's in them, and also just like kind of talking about the more difficult topics and not like shying away from them really. I think that's been really good. In terms of Trailblazer, specifically this league, the marketing, oh my god, the marketing was like next level. I was thinking to myself, every time I saw a new piece of thing come forward, whether it was a piece of like creative work, like graphics, imagery, and then the videos, and then the collaborations with other content creators, I was just like, wow, this needs to be the new standard going forward. And if I can get to work on some updates and have this level of support in terms of marketing on them, it would be like a dream. I think that was probably like the best thing that I noticed about leagues this time around, was that there was just, everything just seemed so on point. It just felt relatable. It was very old school. And even when there were assets that aren't old school assets, like in the Nine Rain and Jimmy video, for example, like they just worked so perfectly. It was great. And then obviously that's helped with what was a fantastic launch. I logged in the first day that I logged in. I think a few people were like asking me how I felt about it, and I was being brutally honest at the time. I was like, look, I can't really tell you that it's great because I'm having fun, but there's just way too many people. I can't get anything done. I spent like 20 minutes fighting noobs to try and mine iron ore in Varrock, for example. And then, yeah, it was insane just to see that in the first few minutes of launch, there was like 12 worlds that were just maxed out, 2,000 people, and no one else could log in. And it's just like, who would have expected that? So yeah, overall really good. I've been having such a blast on leagues as well. Haven't been able to play since Friday, apart from last night when I couldn't sleep. I got out of bed at like midnight. I was just too excited and nervous. I was like, it's time to just kill Hunleth a little bit. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to kick some Hunleth butt as well this evening. I'm trying to get the blade.
How's your day one been back at Jagex?
Very informative. There's obviously, it's like first day anyway. You got a lot of induction kind of stuff, a lot of reintroductions of people. I've had some really nice messages though from staff members that obviously I've worked with before, and were excited to see me come back. Yeah, other than that, one thing that I can definitely notice the difference on, and like I haven't really been briefed on things that I can't say, so hopefully there's nothing bad, but there's nothing bad to say, is that there is such a difference coming into Jagex now 2 years down the line compared to where I was before. Like structurally, in terms of the staffing levels, like there's just so many people that I have no idea who they are. I can't wait to get to know them all and understand what role they play in the business. But before it was just like there was the old school team, and yes, there was extra support from other departments, and Jagex did what they could. But now it's just like whoa, okay, there's a lot going on here. And I've got some kind of like sneak peeks already to some really, really cool things that that are in the works, and I also can't wait to start actually talking about them. So, but yeah, most of all, it's just been a little bit information overload.
One big difference to when you were last here is we're working from home now, right? Obviously,
That is true.
COVID-19, pandemic, everyone's working from home. How does that feel? Joining in the middle of this.
I think it helps that I worked here before, but I also have joined 2 companies in the time that I've left, and one of those was mid through lockdown when it first kicked off. So I kind of got accustomed to working from home again anyway. The second business I worked for was completely online, all onboarding and such. So for me personally, it's not that bad. I think it helps that I know Jagex as well, so I know a lot of the systems and tools and stuff. And from that side of things, there's obviously a few changes, mostly links and stuff. But I kind of have an idea of what it is that I need to do. So it's more just been about trying to learn from people. But that has been the one good thing about this year. As horrible of a situation as COVID is, like genuinely, the fact that it's allowed kind of like businesses to almost like have to essentially accelerate their remote working capacity. Well, it's worked in my favor because now I've obviously got the lack of travel that I would have to be doing until obviously we're back into the office. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, right? Until then, it's just it actually works quite nicely for me. It means no more 5 a.m. wake ups at least. So, but it's very, very different. Like the meetings, I think are going to be something that's going to take some getting used to. When you're in a Zoom call with like 40 people all at once. But even the few that I've been on already, like, everyone just seems to actually manage their microphones, which is a bonus. The amount of people that don't mute in the middle of like a call, and all you can hear is them like crunching on some crisps or breathing down the microphone or furiously typing the keyboard.
Babies in the background, all of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit triggering. So thankfully that doesn't happen here. So.
I mean, I meet myself in this call multiple times today.
Oh,
Christ.
yeah. Well, I was like, trying to help you get it fixed. So for those of you that don't, like, you would have seen, obviously, Sweden with his massively scuffed microphone. We actually, like, set it all up perfectly. So it was, like, brilliant sound quality, no background noise, nothing at all wrong with it. And it's been fine all day until the stream. And then as soon as the stream goes live, it's like his microphone's suddenly blown up. It's got 10,000 plus decibels on gain. And it just sounds like he's trying to perforate our eardrums. So I was trying to like live tech support Sween's microphone whilst he was on the stream. That's why he kept freezing and muting. That was entirely my fault. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, now we just deal with it. Scuffed mic is scuffed. It is absolutely fine. I guess next question. Is there anything from the outside that you wanted to just, you were wishing, I wish I was back at Jagex. I wish I could fix that.
Oh, sweet. You really want me to answer that question?
That you would be able to fix by yourself, assuming that like you don't all of a sudden have all the tech knowledge and dev knowledge, blah, blah, blah. What could you fix that you wish you could have fixed?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the things that I've noticed being a player for like the last 2 years or so is that whilst the very top level communications have been, I personally think, on point. I don't think there's any need to like change those. The level of transparency is great, and like the occurrence of them. I do feel like there's been a bit of a disconnect between like the team and the community as a whole. A lot less interaction on socials than there used to be. At least that's how I see it. Maybe because I'm just constantly on Twitter checking the feeds and stuff. So one of the things that I personally would like to come in and basically fix is like rebuilding that bridge between the community and the dev team, and being someone that is there to support the dev team for, maybe they don't want to interact as much on Twitter. This is all things that obviously I'm first day, so I need to kind of like see if it even is an issue internally. But having those conversations, see if it's a case of maybe they don't want to interact on social because of like bad experiences they may have. Like the internet is a ruthless place, and as much as the old school community is lovely, some of you can be a little bit too extra at times, to be completely honest. It's the same with anything on the internet, right? So if that's an issue, then maybe I can be the person that can mediate conversation. Also trying to build up the kind of like support and kind of like recognition for the sub communities that we have. I think we know that like so many people obviously play Iron Man, and there's a huge representation of like Iron Man and kind of like normal PVM scape in general when you look at the updates and a lot of the discussions that do happen. But then I think like we've lost quite a bit in terms of like healthy, genuine discussion around PvP, around mini games, around skilling, and around competitions as well. So yeah, I'm not saying that I want to come in and like fix PvP like everyone else has said before, but I do want to have some healthy discussions about what it is that we can do, and maybe trying to figure out what the best thing to do is with those kind of communities, what support they want from us as as a team, and just seeing if there's anything that we can do to basically build that up again. And then obviously I need to get back onto Reddit and interact with the art community for some bespoke commissions. But yeah,
people in the chat are saying, "Is this your job interview?" It seems like we're grilling you a bit here.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
So, Ayiza, where do you want to be in the next 5 years?
Oh dear. Well, I'll be in Sween's position, but with a better mic, so it's all good.
Bot busting stream, Ayiza. When's the next one going to happen? That's a question I'm seeing in the chat.
Whenever it's going to get booked, I'm down. You saw I got the beard ready, and I'll shave my head for it and everything. It's fine. It's ready to go. It's already going there, so I don't need to do much. Yeah, I've already
said that we'll shave our heads if the community can donate some stupid amount of money for people like Special Effect.
That works with me. It gives me
Kieren, are you going to join us?
Throwing it as well.
Well, I'm not shaving my hair off, mate.
What do you mean? Why not? It's for charity,
because
man.
Bot busting is a 2-person operation. I will sit on the sidelines and enjoy the experience.
I don't know. I think we need a new caller in on the phone. Maybe that could be you. We'll do video call, because whole social distancing and whatnot. We don't need to hide your face. It's fine.
I would love. Hey, do you remember your debut when you first joined Jagex?
How can I forget it? Yes, I do remember.
I would love to ask you that first question you were asked way back when, but I just can't remember what it was. What was the question and what answer did you give?
So I think the question went along the lines of, do you have any kind of like, is there anything that you currently see that is like a big issue in the community? And that was obviously when I answered with the now infamous that getting a 99 isn't an achievement in terms of skill, it's just a test of time. and then I mean, to be fair, I did such a terrible job, which is why I had to go to Reddit to the particular thread that was named Fire Mod Ayiza. Within an hour of appearing, it was the worst day of my life. I think I didn't sleep for 3 days. I had to go back and obviously reply to that and actually talk about what it was that I meant and what my intentions were, because it wasn't that I was saying that 99 getting 99 isn't an achievement. It's just that for me personally, I wanted to have the differentiation between getting a 99 because you spent 3 years getting a 99 and getting a 99 because you worked your ass off doing the highest efficient tick method possible, the best XP rates per hour, the most intense. That's what I wanted that level of differentiation to be, so that and the intention behind that was so that we could figure out a good balance to still update skilling content without essentially completely peeing off the high level community that is around skilling and all of that. But obviously terrible deliverance, which led to people wanting to fire me. So yeah, hopefully that's not going to happen this time.
Yeah, can you make it
for a moment?
Can you make it to at least an hour and a half?
Damn it.
No, I think people are rejoiced to see your return.
Oh, I'm glad. I've got chat open on my other monitor, but just from past experience of streams, I've purposely not been looking at it. All I see is just loads of red lines in my peripheral vision where I'm just being atted a lot. So I don't want to peer over though, because I'll get put off. But I'm glad if you're happy. Then I'm so grateful that you're happy. So
right,
it's really good to be back as well.
It's great to have you back. Even from, obviously, we're quite good friends. I was with you on the weekend. We hang out, we chat a lot. But from, I guess, my team's perspective, having somebody fill the role that Mod Ayiza left vacant when she moved into the production side of things, I've needed that for quite a while. And also to have that kind of level of game knowledge come back into the team too. So my team is growing, but very happy that you're back and you'll be a pivotal part of it.
Hell yeah.
I'm super glad to have you back. You motivate me.
But how can I do that? The hair's different now, Kieren.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
You have
It's
to
now
sort it out.
down. It's permanently down.
Somebody
for
said you had
context for
a
those-
Tom Holland vibes.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. I'll take. That's the Spider-Man dude, right?
That's a compliment, man. I'll take that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Like, thank you. I was expecting more like I don't even know what. Let's just not go there. Let's keep this cozy vibes. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. For context, the team always used to essentially like complain at me whenever I went to work without doing my hair in the office, because apparently it motivated them, provided them with energy. But in reality, all it did was just made me feel awful, because like I was forced to do my hair every day, otherwise I'd get bullied. They didn't really bully me.
You make me feel so guilty now.
It's a good job I got a thick skin, Do you know what? It's
I'll be
weird.
honest.
It's weird looking at the screen and it
Questions.
says Mod Ayiza. That's cool. We can just.
I know.
I-
I can't wait to see the Jagex Ayiza account tweeting again. So many
Oh,
times.
that's the point. Let me update
yeah.
my profile. Oh, wait, it deleted it. Never mind. I had drafted like an edit on my profile on Twitter to say that it's no longer active. I will be using that again, so it's like well, you can see it, can't you? But it currently says that like it's inactive. It will be. I just need to change it, but I didn't want to do it before the stream. Didn't want to let any secrets out. This was actually so hard to keep a secret as well, because I got so many friends that are from the RuneScape scene in general. So many times I'm on Twitch talking to people, and I'm just like, oh my god, I have to be
You've wanted to
quiet.
tweet it for weeks.
Yeah, I definitely have. But yeah, so I did just see a question that came in from chat. I'm not going to go into the specifics of it. I'll save that for my personal account. But there is obviously, like the whole org that I was working for before. I will like address that on my personal account. But I'm 100% Jagex, Mod Ayiza, through and through. This is my full-time job going forward for the very much indefinite future. So I have no intentions on leaving again. Believe me.
I would see someone saying, how long did you work at Jagex before? I guess, you know what, there might be quite a few elements of the community who don't really know who you are as a mod. I mean, you left just before the Cabas Lowlands release, which is quite a while away, and since then we've procured quite a lot of players. Like a player base, player count has grown quite solidly since then.
Yeah, so I joined Jagex, I think it was like September 2017, and I left on the 14th of December 2018, which was the day before the last like big Deadman that we did like a full produced event on. The last project that I worked on was writing up the blogs and the feedback and the changes and all that kind of stuff to the entirety of the Kebos Lowlands. I remember putting together like the reveals for RuneFest was obviously Warding, Song of the Elves, and Kebos Lowlands, with Kebos coming out first and the other two subject to polls later down the line, which I never put together, but I did put together all of the blogs that you saw for the Kebos Lowlands release at the time. And then, yeah, so it was December 2018 that I left. But in that time, I was the community manager for Old School RuneScape, where it was just myself and Sween for the majority of it until we obviously got Gambit on board. He joined us for... he stayed on afterwards, didn't he? That I left, I think he was here for like 2 years or something in total.
I think it was March or April this year he left.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, back when the team was like, I think it was only like 15 people back then still, or 20 something. It was still relatively small, like we could all fit on 2 banks of desks. And now like it's almost its own news post with the names on the bottom. It's incredible to see. So much growth.
I had to go through some old news posts recently. Yeah, we need our own floor, which would be really cool. I'd love to work on the old school floor of a studio.
Yeah, I think you will probably be at your own floor at some point. It seems to be going that way anyway.
I mean, we've got quite a few more vacancies up now. We're hiring for devs. We've got new artists being recruited and interviewed as well. Big, exciting times.
Big moves, big moves. Well, it makes sense with everything, though, that is being like planned, right? Given the kind of talks that we've heard of RuneScape, like anywhere, everywhere, the whole localization and then bringing it onto Steam and all that, it's, you know, you need a bigger team to be able to support that. And it's just, honestly, it's just good to see old school getting the attention that it deserves. I'm just really grateful to see that and to be joining now at such an exciting time. I feel like I've just been blessed. So, yeah.
Ah, so humble, so pure.
It's true. I've been, like, just so excited from day one. As soon as I found out, I was like screaming down the phone. I feel sorry for the recruitment, the talent acquisition chap that I spoke to, because I kind of just like shouted at him and just was like, "What? Does that mean yes then?" Yeah, it definitely does.
I'll go through questions from the chat quickly. Rob Alexander asking if Gameblast will be happening next year. We don't know. I'd like it to be, but obviously we have to factor in how we could run such a stream all virtually. Obviously the Gameblast we used to do were 24-hour slogs. Mod Spear just said he'll make it work. So, excellent. Maybe. That could be when we shave our heads and do our botbusting stream then. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely, that could work. I've got a green screen. I can put myself in like Gielinor whilst I'm with the bots. Yeah, that's actually a sick idea. I'm gonna Spear. We'll talk about that. I just looked over to the chat now, and I'm probably just ending up crying. Everyone's actually so nice.
They can be nice sometimes. Nice chat. Good chat.
So much love all over Twitter and Reddit as well. So.
Oh, wait, they stole my thunder. How am I going to get all the likes now on my tweet that I'm coming back? All right, make sure you save your likes, guys. You need to save your likes for my tweet, okay? That's all that matters is the interactions. Yeah. No, I am looking forward again though to be able to like talk to people on a more you know, I guess not a professional capacity, but having the ability to actually do something about it, and be able to like help people again. I missed that a lot when I was just seeing so many. Like, you just when you spend a lot of time on social media, you see a lot of people say a lot of different things and different levels of frustration. And you know, I was just so tempted at times to just start like replying to people, just stuff like previous knowledge. I was like, no, walk away, Ayiza, get over yourself. It's fine. Your time will come. So yeah, I'm like just keen again, as I said, to just start helping out really.
Someone in the chat say the Asmon stream was also nice. I loved that. That was so comfy to be on. That could have gone on forever. And
yeah, I
it was
made
just,
a tweet about that. Oh, go on.
Ooh. I didn't see the tweet, I don't think, but yeah, the I don't know. It was interesting being interviewed by somebody from another MMO community. Obviously, doesn't have that kind of old school knowledge or experience. And you know, me, Kieren, and Mike D made the decision. There's no cheat sheet. There's no answers we're going to go from. We'll answer any question we get asked. So we did end up talking about things like OSHT. We're talking about real world trading, botting. Also, you know, good fun stuff too, like the team growing. So that was, it was weirdly enjoyable. Really nervous beforehand, but we just went straight in and answered everything. So I'd recommend going back and watching that if you haven't already done so.
Yeah. I definitely would recommend it. You guys did a fantastic job on that stream. It just sounds like I'm just completely praising you, but this one is like more genuine than anything. I legitimately think that is the best show that I've watched on Twitch, like hands down. Probably not. I wouldn't like. There are probably things that I've watched on Twitch that are like tournaments, for example, but I wouldn't class them as like a show. It's more of a tournament, even though a tournament's a show. You get my point. Like the way that it was handled, minus like, you know, the start where it's like setting it up and everything. But in terms of like the conversation, the question direction in, the answers that were given, it was just so like thoroughly enjoyable to listen to. I really didn't want it to end. I was sad when it did, even though it seemed to have gone on longer than probably what you expected. But the way that you held yourselves, like the two of you especially, was just fantastic. I think you did the old school community such a justice, and you couldn't. I just don't think you could have put old school in like a better spotlight, really, of positivity. Even with the negative things you have to talk about.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear, man. It was so much fun, though.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Such a fun stream to do. Like, yeah.
Talking to gamers about a game that they're not as happy with, and you get to say all the good things like, yeah, well, we don't do that. It was, very good.
Yeah, I do feel like it could have legitimately, we could have just probably carried on chatting for the next few hours, to be honest, and obviously it has to come to an end eventually.
Yeah.
You could tell towards the end they were trying to get us off, but Kieren, as ever, you were so passionate about old school RuneScape, you just weren't taking the prompt. You were like, old school does this, and old school does that.
I didn't get the vibe that they were trying to end it. So.
Not because they weren't enjoying it, purely because I think they'd been on stream for quite a while. It was a 2-hour interview going back and going over and over and over. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I put the link. A few people in the chat asking about what stream, so I put the link in the chat now.
Oh, the Asmongold stream, yeah. I did see a few people mention about my Twitter account again. I did say it earlier, but yeah, my Jagex user account, it will be changed so it doesn't say it's inactive, and I'll unpin this is my last tweet off this account. I just need obviously to set it all up, but the stream was a priority really, so I will I'll still be on that account, so you can follow me on there for all like Jagexy stuff.
Let me plug it in the chat for you, get you a few more followers.
Oh, thank you. Hit 20k by the end of tonight. Cool. That would actually be ridiculous. Having one like 11.
Kieren, I'm seeing a lot of questions and some stuff on social about the changes we made, or the changes we're thinking of making to relics. Is there still
last recall?
Yeah, so I wasn't engaged. I wasn't involved in the discussion to have it. Are those changes completely final and firm, or are we going to make changes to the changes?
Right now, sat on this stream, I don't know exactly what is being discussed and what's happening. As far as I was concerned, I'm pretty happy with the compromise solution of when you use last recall, you'll keep your kill count, but it'll put you outside the room, which I think hopefully is the best of both worlds. But because then you can choose to go to the instance or go in the main room. But anyway, we need to discuss that offline and work out how to go.
Okay, cool. In that case, yeah, I like the sound of compromise too. So we'll get offline, off the stream, and then we'll go and see what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
How exciting! I'm gonna go and.
But no, the main point of people saying I chose this relic for this reason, and it gets changed on me. It's a legit point. Like it's an awful feeling. So.
For sure, no, I completely agree there. It's also, similarly we were saying, we don't want to change the meta midway through the league. That's why we're not going to make changes to things like Blue Scrolls. Then it does seem a little bit, okay, maybe we should revisit our proposal for things like recall. So yeah, okay. So lots of people saying leave it or reconsider the change. We'll do that, and we'll try and come to a compromise that works best for everybody.
It definitely sounds like what you suggested, Kieren, was going to be the best of both worlds, at least. To try and stop the overcrowding, but not screwing you to the point that you have to then spend the time getting kill count again. So imagine that is a little bit frustrating, and you're so not used to doing it now for the last few days.
Yeah, exactly.
On that note,
so many people.
I definitely need to speak to
Mod Ayiza works for Jagex again? Sorry, I interrupted them.
No, it's cool. I was basically. It's probably going to get so many people like. I'm going to be baiting you guys, okay? This isn't true. I'm not really going to do this. So if it does happen, it's not because of me. Just to make sure, completely put that out there. I'm having a chat with Husky about Production Master, and Zalcano, because I personally believe that they should all be done in once. Like, it would make my life so much easier in Zalcano. Taranwin, you know, it's like a big part of that area. So, I think it should work. For the players' benefit, you know, the players' benefit, not just my own. On a serious note, though, regarding that, I'd like to just kind of like more understand, because I was listening to the Q&A, but I haven't had a chance to actually like speak about updates or anything like that yet. It's all been induction. I would like to understand like more as to like what the thought process was behind that, so then I can, you know, obviously use that information to think about how we approach like future updates that might be of a similar situation. For example, do we need to make it clearer in the information that there are specific things that won't be included? Do we, you know, is that something that we list out, or is it something that we should just spend more time on, including absolutely everything? That's like the more serious part of the reason for it. But yeah, should work.
Sounds good to me. Right, I've run out of questions to ask you. We can carry on chatting, or we can start to wrap up. What would you guys prefer to do? Also, Mod Spear, what would you prefer we do, since you're still behind the scenes running things? Easy.
Well, this is
if we want to
great.
keep chatting,
How very British of us. It's like, oh, where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't mind. We'll go anywhere. Oh, I don't mind either. And no one makes a decision.
And then when you do make a decision, you do make a decision, and then everyone else is unhappy with it.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, if you didn't care, then if you cared, why didn't you say? Oh, well, I don't care. Well, you do care. It sounds like I'm trying to organise a meal out with my fiance. Oh dear. All right, maybe I quick fire some chat questions. I'll just look at what people are atting me at.
Cool.
Mod Ayiza memes are going to be back. I hope so. There best be some ready for when I finish this stream. I swear down, L. Gale. It's genuinely good to have you back. Thank you, Mr. Palmer. I basically feel like I'm just streaming now. Sorry, guys. I need some questions. Someone else have a question. All right. How do we feel about this one? Satan Mate says, let us change a relic we have chosen. I feel like that just has so much potential for abuse, right? I know you covered it, but like on a serious note, like if say for example it's the choice between the treasure relic one, that was obviously one that was asked in the Q&A just before, but it would be so broken if you could go back and change your relic, because you just use it for like 3 days, feel like, oh, I've had enough of this now, let me take a benefit of the other one. Like I think in that situation, as like, at the end of the day, the best solution is if you have another account with membership on it, to just use that and start again if you're really unhappy with your relic choices. But for me, I was like, not so much relics, but areas. As soon as I picked an area, for the first like few hours, I had a lot of feeling of regret, and I started to get really down about it and just logged out of leagues because I was like, oh, I've made a mistake, I shouldn't have picked that area. And then I actually thought about like, why am I upset over picking this area? Is it because it's not as good as this other area? Okay, so what makes it not as good? Okay, there aren't as many tasks, but the content in the area that I chose, which was Taranwin for reference, I picked Taranwin, the Elfland over Mauritania. I did that. I went Kandarin, Elfland, and then my last pick will be Mauritania. And yeah, I was like, well, actually, when you think about what's on offer in that area, okay, forget about trying to be the most efficient, forget about trying to be the same as what everyone else is trying to be on stream or what you're seeing on YouTube videos. I was like, I'm just going to have fun with it. I'm just going to see how if I can complete Gauntlet with like 45 combat stats. And that's just what I set myself to do. And by the time I finished it, I was out with like 55 combat stats, 10 kills. Like, that was actually hella fun. I don't regret this at all. So if you feel like you're in the situation of like you really want to change your relic, like just ask yourself those questions like, why do you want to change it? Is it because it's really bad? Or are you just trying to go down a route that maybe you're forcing something that you don't need to, and just think of it more of as a fun perspective, because you're still going to get a crap load of points for your tasks to get the rewards, and the relic's not going to stop you from doing that. You just might have to look at it in a different kind of like, from a different perspective now. So how you guys
I think FOMO is natural. So for anything with buffs or relics or any of that kind of thing you unlock, I think FOMO is natural. You'll doubt your decision, especially so early in the league when different issues are appearing. So I've seen in the chat people are talking about Avers and Quickshot, and I've seen Mod Bruno also say they're aware of issues there. So that type of stuff will be addressed, and seeing those kind of issues and those kind of bugs will also cause you to doubt your decision. But I've been playing quite a lot of, I had been playing quite a lot of Hades, for example, and you play that, and the buffs and the boosts you get are random. And you know what? It gets to a point where I'm midway through the dungeon, and I hate the set of buffs I've got. I'm kind of thinking about, should I just quit and give up, or should I try and carry on and try and have a bit of fun with it? So there is a bit of similarity there. Admittedly, it's the gameplay isn't anywhere near as short form as playing Hades for half an hour versus playing Leagues for 2 months. But it's a similar approach, I think.
It's the unique circumstances people end up in, and that's, you're never going to get to play the game like that. This is like the only chance to do that, right? And that's what makes it cool, I think. The fact you're having a different experience than somebody else, that's great, because you're going to create stories and memories you can share with the other parts of the community. And that might sound really sad, but I don't think it's sad. I think it's cool. I think the fact that you can go and share those, talk to your other RuneScape friends, and talk about, well, I got this relic, and I ended up in Tyranwin and had to do Zalcano to get my points, and somebody else went down the normie route of having to do waterfall quests for their combat training. It's like, everyone's done that. We've done that on accounts for years. So, try to start an account in Tyranwin, completely different experience. So, hell yeah, that's what it's all about.
Really fun zone with the relics that you get from this league as well. It's basically like pushed me out of my comfort zone as well, of trying to basically do things that I wouldn't do normally. And that's how I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at leagues as a way for me to experience content that I haven't yet done, that I've been putting off on my hardcore. Even though it's obviously not exactly like for like with the main game, but you still get to learn tactics and stuff. So like Gauntlet's a great example. The fact that there's a task system that tells you that you have to complete it under a certain time to get extra points is really motivating for me to be like, okay, I know that I can complete the Gauntlet, like super cozy if I just get full tier 2, tier 3 weapons, and then a full inventor food, 2 pots. But that will never get me those completion times. So what do I need to change to start being able to do this now? And because of leagues, that started making me like really interested in speedrunning Gauntlet. So I'm going to, at some point, learn the 5-1 method and hopefully get the sub 5 minute completion. That's my goal, at least for now. And I would never have thought about that before. I did Gauntlet on release, and then I haven't touched it since. Not because I think it's bad content, it's just not been a draw for me. I just forgot about it, really. And now I'm like, well, I'm going back again in main game. So
I mentioned earlier, those kind of challenges or the motivation to play, hopefully when we get to the point of blogging, polling and releasing, if it passes, combat achievements or PVM achievement diaries, hopefully that'll kind of give you that extra incentive to go back and revisit content to get better at it if you hadn't already done so. Someone in the chat mentions they swear that I have a story for every video game ever created. You know what, that is a bit of a trend of mine. I do try and draw parallels between old school and every other game.
I think it's good though, right? Because it makes it more relatable, because you can actually compare it to something that exists rather than it just being someone taking your word at face value. So I get it. Someone asked in the chat, actually, it's a pretty big question that I would like to answer. Mm-hmm. It's directed towards myself or the former Mod Matt K. That one of us apparently said old school RuneScape needs a big update, like a new skill. What do you guys think about it? And that was from Angry Watering Can. So I personally feel that if the community wants a new skill, then cool, the community wants a new skill. Do I think a new skill is going to be the absolute best thing to bring in new players? Honestly, my answer is I don't know. What I do know, though, is that I see things such as leagues as the most perfect solution to the longevity of old school RuneScape, to bring in new players, but to also give something new and refreshing for existing players. It has absolutely filled a void that existed that gives you something to do when you're bored of playing main game. Because, if you were bored of playing main game before, you might just go full AFK mode, play something else, or you would just not play at all. Whereas now it's cool, you've got something fresh and exciting to do for 3, 4, 5 weeks, and then you go back to main game to do everything that you've done in the league and that you may have learned. And I personally would be really happy with just seeing like a constant cycle of leagues content coming out, where we keep pushing the boundaries, we keep tearing apart the game as we know it, and just making something new of it, even further than what we've done, like with the 2 that have been out now. Like, how cool would it be if the next leagues was just in a completely new area that no one's been to before? It's just its own unique map that's specifically created because of leagues. Like, that would be way more hype than bringing in a new skill, for example, I think. You're still playing the same game, but it's not the same game.
I vaguely remember the context of it being said. I think it was Matt K rather than yourself, and it was about, I don't know, a year and a half ago, whenever he was, I think he just recently left. It might have been Shawnee's stream, something like that. I think the context was, unless old school does something radical, something new, then it's never really going to progress or go anywhere. And, the benefit of hindsight, I mean, no disrespect whatsoever, I got on with a guy a lot. I think it's nonsense. I mean, yesterday we had 173,000 players online. With Mike D coming in and setting a goal of keep making us cool old school stuff. What we need to do, rather than like focus on skills or whatever, take the game elsewhere, old school everywhere. Go on new stores, new platforms, that kind of stuff. Leagues as a short form game mode, I think is perfect. Completely agree with you there, Ayiza. And I know a lot of people have a bit of disdain for it because, the progress is wiped after the end of X amount of time. And some people like that, some people don't like that. But if you consider MMOs, let's say all of our dev time goes straight into things like raids and bosses, blah, blah, blah. They need rewards, power creep settles in. If you can get similar results, like player retention, player happiness, membership uplift, that kind of stuff, from seasonal game mode, there's no power creep. The rest of your normal game remains untouched. There's no power creep. You don't have to manage those same kind of issues that other MMOs do. And you get to give players lots and lots of fun just by playing leagues and giving them something really cool. So I'd love to see, maybe not more leagues. I like the one a year, maybe once every 9 months, that kind of cadence, just to get a bit more, less weight for people to play. But I wouldn't mind a new skill either, as a player, from a personal perspective. You know what, I like the sound of warding, because to me it made sense. It seemed like it was the kind of thing that could have existed from old school on day one, which was the intention. It seemed like a very Gower skill. But I also agree with a lot of players when they said you could just add the content to rune crafting or crafting, which, with the likes of Bloodbark and Swamp Bark, sorry, which just passed the poll, that's going to come from rune crafting and crafting. So there were people saying, yeah. And if we look at, sailing, for example, the feedback for around sailing, obviously that's before I joined the old school team, but I remember as a player, the feedback around sailing was, this is just a mini game, why is it a skill? The same thing was said about dungeoneering. And I guess I'm rambling now, and I don't really have anywhere I'm going with this. I'm just kind of giving perspective and thoughts on it.
Well, I guess this topic
exactly.
of skills is a difficult one, man. Like,
it is.
There's such a variety, even skills, because each skill is basically a different sort of gameplay. Like, there's a lot of them that are similar, you got your gathering skills and production skills, but beyond that, you end up, especially the skills that have been most recently added, and I say recent in the context of old school history. I mean, your newest skills in the game being Hunter, Construction, POH, Farming, Slayer, they're all unique. They're so different to any of the other skills in game, right? Slayer's basically a randomized task system. Build your own house, completely unique gameplay. Isn't that could be a mini game in my head as well? Farming, okay, that's a unique skill. That's pretty legit. Hunter as well. It's sort of a gathering skill, but it's just done in such a unique way comparatively. And for me, a new skill, warding, is just a production skill, right? It's very similar to the existing ones. So it fits in that regard. You could do another simple gathering skill like a mining or a fishing, but there's lots of reasons for wanting them. There's lots of reasons for not wanting them. I think the biggest thing is fear that it fundamentally changes the game forever. And I say that because a new skill should integrate with the game, right? And in essence, something like POH, for example, it fundamentally changes the game, right? Especially with the changes we've made to construction since. If a new skill come and did that in a way that people didn't like down the line, that's you know, that's a worry for something like old school, which is we want to stay true to what old school is. We don't want to damage the game. We want to keep on helping the game to grow. And in that case, maybe the mini game skills work better because they're a little bit more detached from the core loop experience of old school. So something like, let's say, use Dungeoneering for an example. It's like it's sort of its own thing. You go and play it, get your level it up, then you come back to the main game. There might be some rewards you get from it that bring it to the game if it was exactly how it was. But yeah, I wouldn't want to say which direction we might go in because ultimately, I guess that's for the community to decide if we would ever approach doing a skill. And I think it's right that it comes from the community if we do want to approach it. I think I disagree with that core statement that we started with, that old school RuneScape won't survive without one, right? That's absolutely not the case. We're proving it right now. The game's growing. It could still make a big difference for the game. It could still, it's certainly what a lot of people have said they want. I mean, we get this feedback in surveys. People do say they are interested in the skill, but it's one of the most, I think, our last survey results, I don't know if we've even really shared them or talked about them very much, but it's the most divisive issue. Easily one of the most divisive issues. There are a lot of people that it's their biggest, most asked for thing is a skill, and there's a lot of people who it's their like most do not want in the game thing. And so you got people on both sides who are very for it and very against it, and everything else is mostly a bit more mixed. So it's a difficult one to approach because I also reckon a lot of people who want a skill don't agree on which.
Yeah, that's right. It's hard to pin down the right one. And you know, the new skill isn't the type of thing we'd market to brand new players anyway. Why do they care if all of a sudden you can sail boats or ward stuff? So true. Or like, it's a new skill is aimed at the current player base to try and improve their kind of, I don't know, their playability, their gameplay. So it's not the type of thing we try and market to new players anyway. What's good at marketing to new players? Things like leagues. It's much easier to sell, hey, remember that game when you played when you were 12? And now XP rates are stupidly high and you can hit stuff with whips really, really quickly. That's more sellable. But a new skill, why would new players care?
Yeah, it's such a valid point. So I think we've kind of like answered that question pretty thoroughly. That was a good one. I like the discussion that came from that, though.
I think there's more we could say as well. I mean, just to add a couple more examples, right? What skills have RuneScape 3 added? Because they're the examples we can draw from, and we can actually see these skills exist. The first one, I mean, one of the ones that was added literally January 2008. Like, this is months after the old school build. It's summoning. And that goes to the exact point of what I was saying. It fundamentally changed the game, right? All of a sudden, you didn't really use Guthans to heal when you were out and about. You could just summon a Bunyip and you would heal over time. Or even a unicorn later down the line. You know, pack yak, bring any amount of food you want, any extra amount of food everywhere. So something like that, it vastly changes everything. It changes the meta across all of combat, especially. So I don't think we can do that. Not without a massively changed version of summoning. Dungeoneering we've touched on, minigame. What else are there? Warding and... not warding. Divination. An invention. Divination was a gathering skill. It added a bunch of rewards that tied into the rest of the game. It had some impact. Whereas invention, that was the other side of divination. That, again, fundamentally changed the metas across combat. All the equipment had the ability to be tweaked and improved. And now archaeology. So, you know, I think all of these, don't fit right for old school for me. And I say that as this person who personally loves the Dungeoneering gameplay. Like, I love that, but whether it's right for old school as it was, I'd love to see Dungeoneering maybe as a minigame. Legitimately as a minigame rather than a skill. But yeah, this all of these have their problems. So finding one that works well for old school, it is certainly a challenge. One I think I'd love to try and solve one day.
Yeah, I mean, I never got the chance to work on a new skill when I was in community management, because obviously, you know, I left just before the rest of the RuneFest reveals actually got blogged and polled. So I would really like the opportunity at some point, if it, you know, there's obviously again another clear demand and there's something that we think would be fitting to be able to work with the community to see how close we might be able to get to something that does seem like it would work. But until that time comes, let's just carry on doing.
It's something we still discuss. Yeah, we just don't. Previously, what there was, I don't mind saying it, there was an appetite internally for a new skill, because we had this idea that it would be that kind of shot in the arm. Which, this is why we're discussing it. The question was raised by someone who used to be internal, and it was discussed at the time internally quite a lot. Now it's not discussed as often. It's more to do with just, is it doable? Could we do it? What would be the right way to proceed? We haven't settled on the skill. We've kind of discussed what would we do differently to try and work with the community to identify a skill. But there's less, we're not as fixed on the end goal anymore. It's just about how we get to the right one. How do we get the right suggestion to go forward with a blog? The warning blog had a lot of detail and like an accompanying 40-page design doc. What we should have done before that is worked with the community to make sure that they actually like the fundamental description of the skill before we just start throwing tons of info at them. An update I've seen on Slack. Yeah, okay. Do you want to go, Kieren?
Go on, Sweet. It's fine.
I was going to discuss the update on last recall. Is that what you're going to say as well?
Yeah. That's all good. Go for it.
Cool. So we aren't going to proceed with the last recall hotfix as we described earlier. We're going to rediscuss it tomorrow. Obviously, I think there are pros and cons to the fix we presented, and we also arrived on the stream actually at a compromise of what if we went forward with the hotfix but then changed the way it worked with putting you outside or not changing a kill count. So we'll discuss that tomorrow, and we won't make any changes until we've reconsidered that.
Cool. Sounds like a good move.
I have a question I've seen in the chat.
20 minutes.
We kept you waiting. You know what? I should have been more realistic with the timing too. I think I said we'd get you on about 1:15, and it wasn't until about 25 past that we got you on. So apologies for that 10 minutes extra in the beard. A few questions in the chat I want to address. People asking about the October Gazette. I'm sad to say, with the focus on things like leaks and planning for 2021, we aren't going to have an October Gazette. But as a way of making it up to you, we'll be looking to publish a November Gazette earlier. So hopefully next week, perhaps the week after. So hopefully the 12th, maybe the 19th. We've got some really cool announcements there. And it also means that we can publish a December Gazette too before we all go away for Christmas. I say go away for Christmas. Stay at home and don't work, because we're not really going anywhere, are we?
All right, more time.
The only difference is you don't get up and go on your computer and turn on the work softwares. You turn on old school and play leagues instead.
Slack auto opens, man. I'll still be reading Slack. All right, okay. People talking about addressing server lag. There are current investigation ongoing. I don't have anything more to say than that, other than our sysadmin team and our engine teams are looking into the lag situation. We know over the past few weeks it's started to affect more worlds. Previously, that type of lag, the kind of like stutter, was only really reserved for like the total level worlds, skill total worlds, and now they seem to be affecting more worlds. It is being investigated. We could get that it's super annoying. It annoys us too when we're playing our own personal accounts, and we'll get that fixed as soon as we can.
Cool.
What's up with Jagex Ayiza? His Twitter still says inactive. Change it.
It won't be. Don't worry, Yorban. I will change it as soon as the stream ends. I've seen a few questions that came through. A lot around PvP. I think that's probably from before when I was at Jagex. I did have quite a heavy involvement with the PvP community, like talking to them and such. But a lot of them have been the same in terms of like PvP focus, Deadman mode, and one of the things that RSN Robert said that I saw earlier. He asked about whether and this is a question I guess now to ask, because I also don't know the answer at this point in time. Will Deadman potentially get the level of commitment and resources put into it the same as what Leagues has in the future? Do we have any kind of like plans for that at all?
Deadman needs love before we do another one. That is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't want to do is just do Deadman again. Not like it was. It needs work. So whether it's 6 months of dev time like Leagues, I think is another question. I don't think it would be necessarily that much. Split up into areas and all that stuff, because that's really where the time went. But
sure.
Task system, maybe. Like that sort of stuff to mix it up. So
I imagine a
It
lot
needs
of like
time
the
on it, but we don't know
fundamentals-
exactly what.
I imagine
I
like
was
a
just
lot of the
gonna say, I don't
fundamentals are there
know.
now, right? Oh, we just literally the same thing. There's like a pause, little delay here. Kieren,
It's
are you like
cute, Ayiza.
are you like on the other side of the world or something? I swear we're both in the UK.
No,
All right,
it's
you
just
go,
there's a
then I'll
slight
go.
delay to sync everything up through
Yeah,
vMix.
no worries.
So
It's probably like all
Um,
the resources being focused to like bring this into the picture, you know. So, probably my fault.
well, so what I was gonna say is like what we do for Deadman. There's a lot of ideas that have gone around, a lot of ideas that are often contradictory as well. So ultimately, we need to spend some time and actually work out what we would do with Deadman if we had some months on it to develop it further. We had discussed doing a task system originally for Deadman, and spending some time on that. So instead of qualifying via total level, qualify via points on a task list. So there's that idea, which would be akin to sort of how Leagues works, but how we do that, there's lots to think about. What are the tasks? If they're PvP oriented, often it's a little bit more challenging because if your task is kill other people and you get points for it each time, it's abusable, right? You can just have other people come and die to you so you can score points. So there's lots of things to work out, and they probably still need to be linked to your progression through the game. But yeah, it's for sure that Deadman, as it stands, like I don't think it's good enough to just stand and bring back. I say that it was still popular when we did it at the start of this year, when soon, like in March, April time, whenever that was. It's still a lot of fun, and I do think that even the change we made this year, where your progression through the season was what you played with in the final, was a good move. I think that helped it a lot. It didn't mean you have to do that mad rush on the 5 days before the finale. So it's an improvement. But yeah, it needs more work.
Okay.
And do you know what? You said it was very popular when we did it this year over the summer, or during lockdown. It was popular because we hadn't done it for about a year before that. Like the changes we made were tiny. They were good, don't get me wrong, like progression from season into finals. I think we allowed access to things like Chambers of Zarek. They were quite popular, they were a little bit divisive. But yeah, I think the reason it was so popular was because of like the scarcity of the game mode that we had by not giving it time. And you know what? We said it before. It wasn't that we never wanted to put time into making changes for Deadman mode. The thing is, under the setup we had during like 2015 to 2017, 18 or whatever, we were, compelled. It was the product vision to have Deadman 4 times a year. It meant the only dev time we could really put to it was making tiny changes in between different events, different tournaments, fixing bugs. Because you know what? There were a lot of issues with Deadman over the few years. If we do bring Deadman back, it would be similar to Leagues, once a year. It wouldn't be as often as we did, because otherwise you don't have enough dev time for it. You need dev time to make impactful changes, content changes, to keep it new, keep it appealing.
And even beyond that, you do need the anticipation. You need people to be wanting it back. When it was every quarter, 4 times a year, it's like, how much time can you spend building a new account again and again and again? No matter what we did to it, that was going to get, it's going to get stale. Certainly, and strategies were all going to be fully worked out. So once a year, but with a little bit more time put into it each time with changes, I think it's far better than doing it super often. Mank asked in the chat, where should he send his ideas to? I think you should at Jagex Ayiza, because that's a thing now.
You can do that. Go ahead. You know all my handles. Thanks. And most definitely, like anyone that's got suggestions, I'm probably going to spend like the next 20 million hours just not sleeping and checking on social media, because that's what I do. One thing I will say actually is, and this is more just like from my own personal perspective to you guys as the community. Those of you that know me before knew I was like super active, super into social media, would always respond as much as I could and such. I do still plan on having that high level of engagement, but it might not be as regular as it was before, just because that took like a pretty heavy toll on like my own personal side of things. So just to pre-warn you that if you don't get a reply, it doesn't mean that I haven't seen it. It doesn't mean that it's not gone anywhere. It just means that I might not have been able to like get back to you at that time, and I've noted it down, I've passed it on. Your feedback would be sent through, but yeah, just in case, like, I want people to be suddenly thinking that I'm going to respond to every single query, every single comment. I'll try my best, but I do need to have a healthy balance of social and work, because we've got a lot of really exciting things to be working on. So yeah, basically that's that. But back to the whole Deadman side, I think what you said, Kieren, is like spot on. I don't think Deadman would be good if we were to bring it back 4 times a year. Like, it got to the point where as casters we were able to not even have to almost prepare for the streams, because we knew exactly what was going to happen. It was the same thing each time and time again, the same items, the same levels, the same gear setups. But I guess the good news is that with so much emphasis, like so much attention being given to leagues, is that I assume that's built up a lot of foundations to actually build upon. If we were to look at something like Deadman again, we can take a lot of what we've learned and what we've already developed for leagues, like the interfaces, the way that the tasks work, the relic system and all that, and then basically just like merge it over into a new version of what could be Deadman, right?
Yeah. It might not be called or advertised as leagues, but the back-end infrastructure could well be the same infrastructure. So, you never know.
It's good to I think recycling content, as much as people meme about it, it's genuinely a good thing. Is okay, I guess there's PvP people that haven't been as happy the fact that leagues has had a lot of attention, but I think you have to be pretty ignorant to say that it was unhealthy or bad for the game to have focused that much attention on leagues, because all of the signs have pointed to it being very successful. And that's with me having no knowledge of the internal stats. Like, just seeing what it did over the weekend, it's basically like what Deadman did the first time it came round. So it's definitely been a good thing for the game in terms of growth and health. And yeah, okay, there may have been like a year's worth of development that hasn't been able to be focused into other areas, but it's not like it's been wasted. We can just steal that, bring it across, and use it again.
Yeah. Because it hasn't been wasted, Leagues has been phenomenally successful. And the thing is, I think we just have to be honest, Leagues has more appeal than Deadman because of the type of content. There are more skillers and PVMers than there are PvPers. Not to say we shouldn't do Deadman, but you kind of have to marry up expectations about what goes into a Deadman. Also, it's much easier to, I say this knowing that we've already kind of caused a bit of controversy talking about balancing, but it's much easier to balance Leagues, which is Iron Man, and very little PvP, compared to balancing stuff like Deadman. I've seen people in the chat say, if you bring back Deadman, get rid of clanning. Why would you get rid of clanning on an always-on PvP MMO? How do you do that? Like, what is the answer? Should we even do it? So there's always going to be those types of really tough decisions and tough asks, and you're not going to please everybody. It's much easier to please everybody with Leagues than it is with something like Deadman.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's that Deadman isn't even the best thing to do going forward for satisfying like that. I'm just spitballing here, so I'm not saying like this is just like my opinion, guys. Please don't petition to get me fired. I do not want the PvP community hating me. But like, when you think about, a lot of PvPers loved Deadman mode because it was so active. There was so much thrill in it. They had so many noobs to feast on. But now those noobs are playing other content because they didn't really want to play. I always saw Deadman mode as like less of a PvP game mode, and it was more of a survival game mode. It was like the masses were there to be slain, and you as the masses were basically trying to defend yourself as much as possible. The PvPers had a great time. People that never PvP'd did engage with PvP, and that built up the community somewhat. But I think for the most part, people just played Deadman because it was so exciting, it was something new. They had accelerated XP rates. They got to do stuff they couldn't do normally in the game. So now they've got leagues for that. Will the general population of players want to go back to Deadman? And are those the kind of questions that we should be asking now? And if it's not Deadman, what can we do to replace Deadman that satisfies that competitive element that we have within PvP, helps build the scene, and also gives something for players to do that they might not have done before? So that could even be like its own entirety. It's like, maybe Deadman isn't right now. Maybe something alternative that's still of the same kind of scale, but not the same mode.
My honest view is I think you need core PvP within old school RuneScape itself to be a functioning feature of the game.
Yeah.
Deadman is additional. It's additional. It doesn't cater to every PvPer even. It's a different. It scratches a different itch. It's a competitive esport, whatever word you use. It's very different to, I'm going to go and kill people north of Vengeful, right? It's completely different. I think there's a lot of topics about the wilderness that I've seen, even within PvPers. There's such different views on them, and we could talk about this forever. But obviously, there's different builds within PvPers. People have different views of how it should be fixed. There's a constant discussion about single way and how clans can attack single people in single way zones. How should we tackle that? Should we completely eliminate that? Then you get the people in the clans who don't want that fixed. That's the only way they can get a kill. There's people in singles who, you just rock a bulwark and you can't be killed. Do we bring out this singles plus thing we've applied to revs and do it across the wilderness? Perhaps, maybe that would help. Honestly, there's so many things we can look at and should spend time thinking about and make decisions about them. I think PJing right now is very confusing about where it applies and where it doesn't apply. It's very off. It's got to be off-putting for people who are getting into it and don't play it every day, because it's like, what rules apply here? I don't know. Trying to have live zones for clans, because revs did have that aspect. With all the problems revs have and had originally, even it was alive with clan versus clan battles, and especially at those first few weeks after launch, it was mad. Mm-hmm. How can we offer that kind of content without it being abusable via real-world trade folk, like it was for the last several months? How can we give that without it being abused? Without one clan just feasting into one big clan just dominating and selling access? It's so hard to try and fit that into a game in a natural way. So they're big topics, and there's no easy solution, because that's the problem I keep coming back to. It's like, I don't know what the answer is. Having spent so long thinking about it, I think having an ongoing event system, which is not an events as in stuff we run, like Deadman and things, an in-game event system which just has a calendar in-game, points to certain worlds at different times across the week, across the month. Be it Rev Caves are double loot from this hour to this hour, draw a load of attention there. Now, that might be a drastic example, but things like that in the calendar to spike action at certain areas in the wilderness at different times, draw people together. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, honestly. I'm just spitballing different ideas, really.
We'll save the answer for the next 2-hour plus stream we do. I'm quite aware that we've been live for more than 2 hours. It's been a great stream. I can hear Mod Spear behind the scenes sighing. He wants us to wrap it up quickly. So, Mod Ayiza, welcome back. It's been amazing. Chat, please show your love and appreciation for Mod Ayiza on his return. And I'm going to run through the announcements quickly. And you know what? I like this form of this kind of long form stream where we're not answering questions. We're just talking about a subject, and it engages in debate, and players get to see that actually we're listening to what they're saying. We're considering it, but maybe we don't have the answers.
The Modcast is what we need.
Dude, we had, before we went into lockdown, we had time set aside for a regular podcast series called the Modcast. And then we went into lockdown, and all of a sudden, everybody's stream becomes a podcast because it's all virtual, like this. But maybe we tailor them a little bit more differently. Right, okay, announcements, let's wrap up. I'm dying to go to the toilet, and I need to eat and also stop working. It's quite late, it's dark outside now. Right, exclamation mark Leagues. Leagues is live. Surely you've played it already, but if you haven't, go and play it. Hop worlds to a world, like a green world. That's a Leagues world. There's a tutorial, complete it, unlock Karamja, you get given that one for free, then pick a relic, then go and play, complete some stuff, kill some stuff, craft some stuff, go and do the stuff in Leagues. This week's game update. Yeah, and have fun. Don't forget that's the most important part. Have fun. This week's game update will be on Thursday rather than Wednesday. This allows us extra time to get everything ready, all the Leagues fixes nice and compiled, plus other stuff from Pole 73 and beyond. Ooh, what else? We've got some login server maintenance scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. There's a news post, there's some social media comms as well, and we'll also use the in-game broadcast to make sure you're well aware of what's happening. Now, if you're logged in at the time the maintenance begins, you'll be unaffected, but you'll be unable to log in or hop worlds during the maintenance period. Exclamation mark Halloween. So the Halloween update is live. You can find Rick near Draenor Village. Start the spooky side story. The update will be removed on Wednesday, the 11th of November. So you've got a little bit over a week to get it done, get the rewards for this year, and also the music track. All right, 3 more. Exclamation mark Twisted. The poll is live for a new quest. The blog will tell you everything you need to know about it, but it's going to be the first in a series of short standalone quests around the regions of Kieren and Kebos, designed to add more lore, a bit of world building, a bit of narrative around that area, the region. Exclamation Mark Prime, it's our newest Prime Gaming collaboration with an exclusive Last Man Standing event in which 24 of the toughest players will be battling for glory. So try and win as many games of Last Man Standing before November 10th to have a chance of competing in the grand finale. Use exclamation mark Prime to get more info. And the last announcement you'll be pleased to know, exclamation mark GGA. We are very sad to announce that the Golden Gnome final have been delayed until November 20th. We plan to have some elements of the ceremony at our studio, but the ongoing COVID situation and changes to lockdown restrictions in the UK means we'll be having it entirely virtual, hence the delay. Right, that's it from me. I'll hand it to you guys. Ayiza, Kieren, if you want to say anything else. That's a no?
I'm waiting. No, wait. I'm waiting in case Kieren goes.
After you, Ayiza.
Oh, okay, all right. We'll save the best till last. That's why Kieran's waiting. Yeah, I guess just from me, honestly, a huge thank you for the overwhelmingly positive reception that I've received to coming back. I'm genuinely so excited to be here, so happy. I'm going to have a lot of fun, I think, checking through my Twitter notifications. They've blown up. But yeah, you guys are awesome. I love you all. Can't wait to start working with you. Any feedback, any ideas, any suggestions, hit me up on Twitter. Get a hold of me on Discord. As soon as I reactivate my Jagex Discord account, I'll be in the old school RuneScape Discord. You can send me over DMs or whatnot. And then obviously, yeah, anything on Reddit that you see that might be interesting as well. Just basically give me anything that I need to know all the time, anytime, and I'll do my best to serve you well.
All I wanted to add was 2020 does have some good news. And that's Ayiza coming back to old school.
Oh, I should have kept the shades on till the end and then just been like, I'll do it now. I'm back. Cut the stream.
Someone gift that, please.
Oh dear. I'm glad I didn't poke myself in the eye.
Right, we are wrapping up. That's it. We're done. That's a long stream. Mod Spear, thanks for hanging with us and chilling. We enjoyed it. Mod Ayiza, Mod Kieren, thank you for joining me. Mod Flippy, Mod Husky earlier, thanks for joining. And to you, the people watching, thanks for sticking with us. Hope you enjoyed the stream. We won't be back later this week. Mod Spear needs some holiday. That's cool. We all do. But we're back next week. See ya.